So, the clans. They've existed since the beginning-ish, and though their characterizations have changed, they stick loosely to the same 4 personality types that humans have been using for centuries. But before we get started with all that, I want to take a really quick second to talk to you guys about this project I'm hosting. Here is the Warrior Clan's symbol enamel pins Kickstarter page. As you can tell, we're already fully funded, which means that the ThunderClan badge has been unlocked. We're also just over 3/4 of the way towards unlocking RiverClan. As you can see here, the more goals we hit, the more clans we'll unlock. RiverClan, WindClan, ShadowClan and StarClan, and then extending into our secret stretch goals, with as yet unrevealed designs being SkyClan, Kitty Pet and BloodClan. I'm also adding in a fun free sticker for every 2 badge tier pledge. Here's my RiverClan sticker on my planner. Kickstarter doesn't charge until the end of the campaign, so if you want to see a certain clan unlocked, don't wait around. If lots of people are waiting for each other to pledge, we won't reach any goals after all. I am doing a winky face RL, but you can't see it. If you can't support financially, retweets and reblogs also really help me out, so I've linked both the tweet and the Tumblr post at the top of the description. All kinds of support are really appreciated. Now we've got that corporate shilling out of the way, let's get back to the topic at hand. In our culture, our identities and the various facets of them are vital to our personhoods. It's no wonder then that media designed primarily for kids contains relatively inconsequential identifiers based primarily around personality. I'm sure you know where you belong in some of them. Your Hogwarts house, your Pokémon Go team, which Pevensie child you liked best from Narnia, and of course, what Warriors clan you would belong to. There are pretty obvious notable similarities between, say, Ravenclaw and Team Mystic, or Gryffindor and Peter Pevensie. But did you know that a pseudo-psychological theory with 4 personality types has existed since at least 200 BC? Or that lots of storytelling loosely uses the theory? Well, I'm going to show you. To really understand this personality model, we're going to need to take a quick history lesson. In ancient Greece, Hippocrates and then later Galen constructed a medicinal theory. This theory stated that in a person's body were 4 vital fluids, otherwise known as humours, and that they must stay in balance for the person to remain healthy. These humours were blood, phlegm, yellow bile, which is what we refer to now simply as bile, and black bile, which is, well, stool. Each humour was associated with symptoms of the body. If a person had a fever, it was thought that that was a result of having too much blood in their body and being out of balance, causing them to become hot and moist. Fun fact, this is why leeches were used, to rid the body of excess blood. Anyway, later the theory was expanded upon to include personality types, or temperaments, under the same model: Sanguine, Phlegmatic, choleric and Melancholic. It was thought that a person had a most dominant humour, and that affected their personality. Since we're going to be looking at personality stuff, let's lay down some baselines for how I'm going to be considering the clans. First off, as opposed to Hogwarts houses, the clans don't really have personalities, as they're familial groups and not personality groups that you get sorted into. However, throughout the series there have been a lot of different characterizations of the clans, the most obvious being ShadowClan's susceptibility to ambitious tyrants. I'm going to be using 2 sources for the clan's personalities today. First of all, these short descriptions of clan character found within Secrets of the Clans, which is a field guide, and secondly, the personalities of the founders. I'm going to be ignoring SkyClan because they don't have nearly as much material as the other clans, and Clear Sky exclusively existed to be an arse. But if you're interested in doing your own research, a 5th temperament was later added that might better fit modern SkyClan. Also, please do note that as pseudo-countries with so many different authors across so many different series, all these characterizations have changed over time. Right, to start off with, let's look at the Sanguine temperament. The Sanguine personality type tend to be adventurous, impulsive risk-takers. They're energetic and spontaneous, and can be prone to boredom and vanity. They are extroverted, assertive, and emotionally open books. I feel like this one kind of speaks for itself. This is very much a typical protag personality type and easily ThunderClan, who are in peace, respectful of other clans, in battle, fierce, courageous and loyal. ThunderClan cats speak out for what is right and are not afraid to challenge the warrior code. Thunder himself also calls attention to his strength and skill at hunting in Secrets of the Clans. Ironically, a little bit above this is Firestar's speech about ThunderClan, which he literally calls the Clan of Heroes, so yeah, this one was pretty easy. They're adventurous and courageous. Now let's look at the choleric temperament. Cholerics are ambitious and focused. With an impulse to dominate and control, people of this type are brief, precise, and unemotional. They strive for rational and analytical thought and generally consider themselves to be above others. This is another pretty easy one to place. Here's Shadow Clan's description. Battle-hungry, aggressive, ambitious, and greedy for territory. It is said that the cold wind that blows across Shadow Clan territory chills their hearts and makes them suspicious and untrusting. These are the Arian's words, not mine. The key word here seems to be ambitious. Shadow Clan and the choleric temperament are pretty clearly both the de facto antagonists. Tiger Claw Star is also often described as being ambitious. We have the easier ones out of the way, so let's talk about where my other three categories fit into this. For Sanguine, we have Gryffindor, who are described by the Sorting Hat as brave, daring, and chivalrous. We have Peter Pevensie, who is described as serious and courageous. And we have Team Valor, whose leader, Candela, claims to pursue true strength. As for Choleric, we of course have Slytherin, who are cunning and ambitious. Edmund, who is jealous and proud. And then, oh, wait. As there are only 3 Pokemon Go teams, none align with this type. But oftentimes you'll find that in media, and kids media especially, trios are made up of characters or groups similar to these 4 types, minus Choleric, because, to be honest, it's hard to write this type appealingly. Characters being evil because they have an evil personality type TM is just a bit boring. Think Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Another interesting aspect of the connections we're making is in their colours. Take a moment to think about the colours that you personally associate with the clans, maybe even pause for a minute and then see if yours match up with mine. If I had to pick to give them each a colour, I'd go with red or orange for Thunder Clan, black or purple for Shadow Clan, blue for River Clan, and a dusty, wheaty yellow for Wind Clan. Now let's compare our Sanguine and Choleric matchups. Isn't that cool? I'm leaving the Pevensies out because the source material doesn't particularly associate them with any colours to my memory, but you can certainly sometimes see these connections in the various Narnia movies. Also, our Cholerics definitely ended up more green than my purple idea, which I also find super interesting. So, did your colours match up? Keep these in mind going forward and we'll have a look at the next 2 at the end. The next 2 temperaments are going to be less immediately recognisable, so bear with me. I'm going to go over the houses, teams and Pevensies before I do the clans for the next 2, as it will make it easier to explain why I'm grouping them together. But first off, here are the other 2 temperaments. Phlegmatics are composed, agreeable and rational people. They are known to avoid conflict and take the role of the mediator. Sometimes depicted as lazy and unambitious, they are low maintenance, good at making compromises and excel at hiding their emotions. And then, people who are of the melancholic type are traditional beings. Self-reliant introverts, these individuals seek order and are thoughtful, anxious and reserved. They are detail-oriented and morally driven. I've seen arguments both ways for the Hogwarts houses. Most of the arguments I see, though, put Hufflepuff as phlegmatic because they're quote-unquote lazy, but the Sorting Hat itself claims that they are unafraid of toil, read hard-working, and I personally think that Ravenclaw fits better with the low-maintenance, less emotional and more rational aspects of the phlegmatic. I think a lot of this particular temperament has been boiled down over the centuries to be rational and unemotional, or put more simply, clever. It's taking this stance that I'm going to put Susan Pevensie, who is wise and cautious, and Team Mystic, with Blanche being a calm analyst, in this type, though an argument could easily be made either way. Keeping all this in mind, I'm also going to put River Clan under phlegmatic. The clan itself is described as contented, sleek, well-fed, long fur and glossy coats. This description only really lends itself to the lazy aspect of phlegmatics, so let's have a quick look at River Clan's founder, River Ripple. He chooses not to participate in the Great Battle, he keeps a notable distance from the other groups during the events of Dawn of the Clans, and only appears every now and then to offer wisdom to Greywing. Does this calm and clever characterisation ring any bells? And that of course leaves the Melancholics. Sticking strictly to the description doesn't really give us much to work with, but heck, this is my video so I'm going to inject my own opinion. I think that this temperament has also been boiled down to a more base and easy to understand personality over the years. I think that once upon a time it did consist of people who were more conservative and orderly, but that over the years stories leaned into tropes of them being anxious and morally driven, and at the other side we sort of ended up with a vague personality of loyal and thinks with their heart, not with their head. That is just a personal conjecture though. Whatever the case, we've ended up with our 4 examples being more similar to each other than they are to the original theory. For this more emotionally driven type, I'm putting Hufflepuff, who are called just, loyal, patient and true, Lucy Pevensie, who is described as loyal and faithful, and Team Instinct, whose leader is concerned with Pokemon's excellent intuition. You'll notice that loyal came up twice there, and of course, here's Wind Clan's description. Fiercely loyal, tough, fast-running and easily offended. They are nervous and quick to flee. They take pride in being closest to the Moonstone. Interestingly, WindClan recovers the somewhat lost quality of Melancholics being deeply traditional. They are pointed out to have a stronger connection to their faith, and in Toolstar's Revenge it is revealed that they're committed to a tradition of 2 separate jobs for their warriors, tunnelers and moorrunners. And hey, another quick look at our colours. My blues and yellows totally checked out here. I have to admit, I was really surprised when I learnt that River Ripple had green eyes. I'd spent the entirety of Dawn of the Clans assuming they were blue. So, do your own types and favourites match up? Are you a weird mix of 2 or 3? Let me know if you can think of any other fun things this also applies to. My friends told me to include the factions of Divergent, but I've never read the series, so feel free to apply them if you have. And if you have arguments as to why certain things don't match up the way I've laid them out in this video, I'd be really interested in reading other people's thoughts and reasonings. And while this is all fun and games, try not to take it too seriously if your types and personalities don't go together perfectly. The temperaments theory is pseudopsychology with little to no science backing it up, so this video is just a fun dive into character tropes. Thank you guys for watching. This is an idea that's been floating around in the back of my head for months, so it's really nice to finally pen it and get it up for you guys. I hope you enjoyed making these weird connections with me, and maybe even learnt a little something along the way. My next video is either going to be about disabled cats or about the ThunderClan Purge, so if you're interested in seeing more from me, make sure to click subscribe and the little bell icon so you can see when I next post. I'll see you guys in the next one, and check out my Kickstarter. Sanguine, blah blah blah.